When I am reading, I am succeeding. I pick up a book and take a look, my mind just starts to grow. Hello viewers, we are the University of Guyana students doing the course Introduction to Literacy Studies. I am Trisha Karam, your host for today's podcast, which will be based on Nicholas Accardo's 2017 article, What Does It Mean to be Literate? One must not limit being literate to just reading and writing. It is so much more. A quote I once read by Kofi Annan states, "Literacy is the road to human progress and the means through which every individual can realize his or her full potential." Here, my colleagues will share 3 main points with brief explanation from Accardo's article and a discussion on whether or not the contents of the article are aligned to the national understanding or description of literacy instruction. We have Felicity Calvin, Delana Wilson, Candace Halley, and Orville Benjamin. Well, Felicity, after reading the article, what is one thing that stood out for you?
Good morning, viewers. Reading Accardo's article was mind-blowing the way he interpreted being literate. The part that I took away from the article is that literacy is a social construction and that there are different social contexts. We as individuals learn to become literate through people's experiences, and this makes it possible for language to be interpreted in various ways, such as through a form of text, computer programming language, art, or music. Understanding the language deeply makes you literate, so you can also form your own interpretations. In Accardo's article, G stated, and I quote, "We share interpretations with others who have worked to form them, support them, nourish them," end of quote. So this is something important for us to understand. Thank you, Miss.
Thank you, Felicity. So understanding language through someone else's work and being able to think about it helps you to be literate in that context. Truly, it's amazing. We know that being truly literate involves having a deep understanding of language and text. Tell us, Delana Wilson, how does understanding language in a specific context contribute to a person's overall literacy?
Thank you. I'm happy to be here. Greetings, viewers. Now, according to Mr. Accardo's article, literacy is beyond reading and writing. What captured my attention most is the way he highlighted the perception of people, in that people think if you can't read or write, you are not literate, forgetting the fact, or maybe ignorant of the fact, that reading and writing are only components of literacy. What about critical thinking? This is the point that stood out to me. Critical literacy. It aligns with the goal of fostering critical thinking and promoting deeper understanding and even questioning the independence of ideas and enabling people to make wise decisions and contribute to their society. Have you ever, reflect with me for a moment, have you ever had a conversation with someone who knows to write and read, but they can't think deep, they can't reason, they can't even form their own interpretation of effects, they don't know to comprehend? Now, do you know that people can read and write but still cannot think deep? They still aren't able to think critically? Just a moment. Right. Now, this brings us to the point that literacy according to Mr. Accardo, that literacy is not just about reading and writing, but it has to do with critical thinking, being able to make interpretation of a text, being able to form your own interpretation. Right? So critical thinking is important, or is also a component for reading and writing, and not just writing and reading that makes someone literate. Thank you.
Wow, that was educating. So as long as our location and activity changes, so does our literacy. I love the quote Mr. Accardo mentioned in his article G 2014. Literacy is social because the mind itself is social. Thank you for sharing, Delana Wilson. Candace Halley, let's hear your view on the article.
Yes, colleagues, my take on Nicholas Accardo 2017 article is that literacy has evolved. Being literate goes beyond being able to read text and write it. G 2014 said, and I quote, literacy is social because the mind itself is social also. That is, there are multiple literacies such as computer literacy, language, music, scientific, and we can go on and on. Also, it is not easy to just look at someone and assume that they're illiterate or literate. We all know the saying, do not judge a book by its cover. Everyone has their own specific field of work. According to G 2014, this context-like world discourse can be used to evaluate the literacy of a person in a given society. Take for example, I'm a teacher, and the different terminology I use would not be the same for a doctor, scientist, or lawyer, etc. I can have a one-on-one conversation with them, but not in depth with their work. It is not that I'm illiterate, but my literacy level is low in that context. Every person's vocabulary and etiquette is different. Nicholas in his article said that although studying someone's literacy is different, I do not think it is impossible.
It is truly wonderful how Mr. Accardo's interpretation of literacy goes way more than we know. Finally, colleagues, I will now shift my focus to Orville Benjamin. Where do you stand based on the article? Do you think it aligned to the national understanding or description to literacy instruction?
After carefully analyzing Accardo's 2017 article, it showed a comprehensive overview of the National Council of Teachers of English (NCTE) and the International Literacy Association (ILA) standards for the United States, and how language should be implemented in literacy instruction. This article aligns with the national understanding of literacy instruction as it emphasizes the importance of developing students' skills in reading, writing, speaking, and listening. This article also stresses the need to teach literacy skills in a meaningful context, that is, to connect students' interests and experiences with the introduction of the new curriculum in Guyana, where the teaching of language arts stresses the need to include the diverse language and cultural background of students, their individual learning needs, and how it connects to their real-life experiences are more in line with the said article. Therefore, it is necessary to take into account these perspectives when designing literacy instruction. Accardo's 2017 describes several literacy strategies and approaches that align with the national standards, including authentic texts and diverse perspectives, engaging in collaborative learning as well as using technology to support literacy development. This article also highlights the importance of formative assessment to monitor students' progress and adjust instruction to cater for individual students' needs. Accardo's article also helps us to understand that literacy is a social construct where students learn to be literate through one's own experiences as well as the experiences of others and the environment. Through those shared experiences, students are able to construct and interpret language in different ways. Overall, Accardo's 2017 provides a comprehensive overview of literacy instruction that aligns with the national understanding of what effective literacy instruction entails. The article emphasizes the need for culturally responsive and student-centered instruction that supports the development of the multiple literacies required for success in the 21st century.
Thank you, Arbil. That was very informative. Overall, colleagues and viewers, Nicholas Accardo's article Interpret Being Literate when you have the ability to produce and interpret language context, also deeply understand and even question it. J 2014 state, literacy empowers people when it renders them active questioners of the social reality around them. Literacy does not end in reading and writing on just surface level. It goes beyond to make one literate.